Hello, good evening, and welcome to Thingamajig's Racing Channel. We are back. Hang on, I'm all tied up with my wires. We're back once again with the Ultimate Racing League. And it's a clean slate, ladies and gentlemen. It's a clear bill. It's a brand new dawn. It's a fresh start. We're at the beginnings of a brand new championship, and it's with the Academy Junior Series, ladies and gentlemen, and they're racing the Jaguar Group 4s this season. We are seeing the F-types out once again, and we know they produce some absolutely excellent racing back when the Ultimate Racing League's Wednesday guys raced with them. So this is going to be exciting. And we'll see a few names familiar if we've kept with the Academy series. And we're calling this one the Apex Cat Cup. I would have preferred Apex Predators Cup, but as I said before, it's a junior series. And I thought, maybe not. So, yes, we're going with the Apex Cat Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Should have called it something like the clubs. Shouldn't I? The Apex Cat Clubs. Cubs, not clubs. Anyway, so it's two 25-minute races, all in the same car. And yes, these guys are just getting into their sim racing, their online sim racing. So you're going to see a nice balanced field, I'm sure. Let's have a look who we have then after qualifying for round one. We're at Nürburgring. If I forgot to mention, we are at the glory of Germany's whole. It's the Nürburgring GP. So sit back and enjoy. Now, I usually slate this one, but I think the last time I covered a race here, it was absolutely banging. So I'm expecting top-notch stuff here. On pole position then, ladies and gentlemen, we have Rufus. Rufus popping in near the end of the season. Last series is here from the start. It seems like he has a proper title championship campaign on the go with claiming pole position in race one. Fantastic stuff. In number two position, ladies and gentlemen, we have Carlsberg. Carlsberg, very close last series. And he was just led for a majority of the season, but just dropped off a little bit near the end. But look at him, starting strong in the Jag, up there in second place. Fantastic start from Carlsberg. In third place, ladies and gentlemen, our reigning champion. It's Ginger. Ginger returns. I was worried he was going to be bumped up to another league, but no, he has returned to retain, to keep, to hold on to his championship. Can he do it? He also was a late bloomer throughout last season, started strong, had a bit of a slow mid-table, mid-championship slump, and then came back absolutely boxing clever at the end of the series. It was an exciting championship, ladies and gentlemen. I would recommend it. And that's Ginger then, third on the grid. Fourth, ladies and gentlemen, we have Hoyland. Hoyland taking part in a few races last series and showing a very good talent, very good racing skills. So with Hoyland fourth on the grid, what can he do against the three ahead of him? But he has to worry because the Saint, who was also in a championship title fight up until the last race, last series, is just behind him and not one to count out. So the Saint starting in fifth place. In sixth, ladies and gentlemen, we have Waitsy. Waitsy has the speed, just not the consistency. Has he amended that? Is the Jaguar more to his liking? Sixth on the grid, not a bad qualifying session from Waitsy, and I'm sure there is more to come. Seventh place, ladies and gentlemen, we have Fazzy. Fazzy, coming in strong last series, is starting down in seventh spots. Still getting to terms with the Jaguar, one thinks. In eighth place, we have the Frank. And the Frank loves a good drift. But when we see him get down and get sensible with his racing, he turned out to be quite a star. Starting from 8th place, he's got a big job ahead of him, but I'm sure Frank is more than able enough to get past these jokers ahead. In 9th place, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ninky. It's going to take a while to get used to. I mean, they've made it as simple as possible with the liveries for me. They've given them colours, haven't they? So it's not too hard to tell. But we'll get to know whom is whom as the season goes on. But 9th place is Ninky, also in the green and white Jaguar. 10th place then, ladies and gentlemen, is Bubblegum. And he also showed some great racing, so he's very good at bumper-to-bumper combat. That's what he specialises in. From last season, he came strong when it came to bumper-to-bumper combat. So, yes, Bubblegum, starting all the way down in 10th, is not going to be an absolute issue because he gets racy as the lights go green. And then we have Steel returning. And starting in 11th spot, can Steel master the Jaguar? We shall see. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how our teams line up on the grid. And we're ready for a 25-minute all-out explosive race. Are you ready? Then I shall continue. Rolling start here as Rufus leads them to the line. And it is a go here for the very first race, Rufus. It's a long straight. Carlsberg dips in to get a little bit of a toe. Going down to a very tight first corner. They're going to be heavy on the brakes. And there is no missiles coming in. Very nice from everyone involved. Oh, a little knock there from, was it Bubblegum? Bubblegum getting a little excited, it looked like, up the side of the Ninky. Frank in 8th, Fazzy 7th, but he's wide, ladies and gentlemen. Watesy maintains 6th there behind the Saint in 5th. Up ahead, though, Rufus still leads. Ginger going a little wide out of the corner, but it's okay. It is okay. Apparently they go that line in real life. Tricky corner. Rufus enters here, judging the speed, and Ginger sending the Jaguar very to the edge of the track, giving Hoyland half an opportunity to get a run at him down to this next hairpin. Again, another tricky braking area for our racers here, and they are doing superbly so far on this first lap. Little incidents, ladies and gentlemen, nothing going on. The Saint, Wasey slipping back from the Saint there, but he seems to be fine as the Fazzy has his hands full with Frank and Ninky now closing back in. Ninky dropped back a little bit from the Frank, but he's back in the action. Bubblegum in 10th place. He slipped back from the pack, and Steele also slipping back. Rufus leads them, and Carlsberg chases. Hoyland looking very dangerous, and the Saint, oh no, the Saint's been a very naughty boy. He's picked himself up a half-a-second penalty, and now he has to dust himself off and get on with it again. Watesy maintains that great 6th place ahead of the Faz, who also is being haunted by the Frank. Frank closing in on this opening lap, ladies and gentlemen, and Ninky also fancies a piece of that action ahead. Rufus leads. Carlsberg in 2nd as we saw Ninky nearly losing the rear derriere of the Jaguar F-Type as he hunts himself down. Frank ahead. Beautiful racing on that first lap, ladies and gents, you must say, from our amateurs. Or not so amateur. They've had a season under their belt. Bubblegum looking like he's ready to close back in to the action. Steel dropping back a little bit more. It's a tricky technical track, ladies and gents. It is a tough one to get a handle on. I'm very poor. I'm very poor racer as it is. I mean, these guys, I say they're like juniors and amateurs, but they would all beat me easily. And yeah, this track I find is a tricky track. Technical. Braking is everything. It's all about corner entry speed and exit speed, because there's all like little straights all coming off of the back end of tight corners. So you've got to get your exits almost perfect to carry the speed down the straight. So yeah, a technical hard track for our juniors and fresh meat, ladies and gentlemen. Carlsberg then still chases down the Rufus with Ginger in third. Ginger's been a naughty boy, and that is only good news for Hoyland. Hoyland absolutely ecstatic over that noise. Ginger then 5-second penalty. He'll be paying it now, and that'll put Hoyland. No, he's going to carry it for a whole lap. He could double his money. He could double his money, couldn't he, for this next lap? Then he could pick up another one. Hoyland sitting pretty, just closing in on Ginger, looking at a podium. Then we have the Saint in fifth, Waitsy in sixth. Seems safe as Fazzy now pulling a little bit away from Frank, as Frank has to be aware of Ninky that is coming in stronger behind him. So Ninky in ninth place, chasing down the Frank. Bubblegum in 10th, trying to close in on the guys ahead. We'll see when they cross the line, as Fazzy then brings it around the final corner, gets onto that accelerator, and that is a tricky one as well. You get onto that accelerator too early, the car does swing around. 208.2 from Fazzy. Waitsy, Frank doing a 208.4. Fazzy a 208.2, 208.4, 208.5, and Bubblegum a 210.0, losing out a little there from the guys ahead. Waitsy a 204.5, but he goes wide, and that is going to help Fazzy out in all sorts of ways. The Saint then pulling away, 201 from the Saint, 2 minute dead from Hoyland, and Ginger carrying that. Is that a new penalty? It started flashing. So Hoyland then, yeah, I think it flashes when it just you go to it. So yeah, the penalty, we must be coming close to the zone. Rufus at the moment, fastest man out there on that first flying lap. And yeah, Rufus owning the Nürburgring at the moment in the Jaguar. Carlsberg giving it all he's got behind, but can he take it, Captain? Ginger carrying a penalty, waiting for Hoyland in the shadows to come through and take that position. Here he goes then, pays the penalty. It says half a second, but really does, with the slowing down and the speeding back up, costs you more than half a second, but it seems enough to keep Ginger's toe in the game. Hoyland closes right up to the back of Ginger. Very close there, very close on the braking zone. But Ginger looks like he got through the chicane a lot better. It looks like Hoyland had to hammer those brakes, and he's opened himself up now to an invitation for a race from the Saint. And the Saint is quite happy to accept. And he's coming in hard and fast now, with the Saint trying to pick up a toe from Hoyland. Into the braking zone, both of them standing on the brakes. Hoyland onto the apex, good entry, good exit, doesn't give anything away to the Saint here, and the Saint then trying to pressure him into a bit of a mistake, and Hoyland there showing mature ahead on that racing sim. Shoulders, whatever. I think he's a young one. Ginger then having a small off it. No, I think it was just his racing line, and Ginger then just trying to stay out of trouble from the fight and the whirlwind that comes from behind. Waitsy in sixth. Fazzy not being able to close up on Waitsy at the moment. Waitsy keeping it together enough to hold on to sixth place. Fazzy in seventh, keeping it ahead of the Frank. These guys look like they're struggling with the Jaguar. Ninky dropping back from the Frank in that battle, and fighting with the F-Type as Bubblegum starts closing in. He has it consistent. He just needs to shave off a second or two, and he's in the fight ahead of him. And still in 11th, fighting the Jaguar. It is a beast. It is all engine, no turn. Rufus, though, he seems to be fine with it. It's all about the braking to the guys behind. You can't late brake in this one. And Rufus then absolutely slamming in the lap times, maintaining that lead, and under no pressure, really. No pressure at all. Carlsberg's there, but Rufus does not feel the heat. He knows he has the pace on Carlsberg. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, there is nothing that Carlsberg can do. Although Carlsberg now getting the fastest lap, going into the 58s, finding a bit of a toe, and maybe Rufus is starting to feel a little heat. Maybe it's a little warm in that cockpit as Carlsberg having a serious look at Rufus. And now Rufus finding he's got Carlsberg around the outside. Rufus clinging onto the apex. And it is a cat fight out here, ladies and gentlemen. And the Jaguars take swipes at each other as Rufus tries to fight. And Carlsberg bites the apex, tries to go up the inside. And it's Carlsberg leading at the moment. Carlsberg, no. Cameraman, wrong way. Rufus just about getting enough speed out of the corner and staying ahead of Carlsberg, and Carlsberg finding a little extra out there, and Rufus having to defend that lead that he was very comfortable in. Ginger in third place. He's got a nice space between Hoyland, but Hoyland still has concerns over the Saint that is chasing him down. Waitsy in sixth seems safe. Everything is calm. Deep breaths in the Waitsy camp. Fazzy is on the hunt, but Frank is closing in. He keeps closing in, but it looks like Fazzy doing just enough to keep him away. How is the battle ahead, I hear you say? I know, we're just trying to have a look. They're still very close together. I was just checking there was no other battlage in amongst the other racers that we were missing right now. Carlsberg then getting good drives out of that corner, looking very serious as we head up to the it's not quite a chicane, but it's like a chicane. Is it the chicane? No, it is the chicane. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong triangle on the map. I should have been looking at the red one. So Carlsberg then got great speed down towards the chicane, but he lost the bottle, one would say. I thought he was going to try and shove it up the inside of Rufus and force a move, but Carlsberg braked heavily for the chicane, and Rufus then gets a nice clean run all the way down to the first corner, goes a little wide, goes into the bunker. Ladies and gentlemen, Rufus absolutely late on the brakes, goes deep into the first corner, and now Rufus has got to roll up his sleeves. He's got to get down and he's got to get racy against the Berg, because the Berg is absolutely slinging Jaguar at the moment. Ginger in third place seems safe. Hoyland has lost his Saint. Ladies and gentlemen, the Saint slipping back. He's got a bit of space to do that because the Waitsy at the moment isn't pushing any agenda onto the Saint. Fazzy is keeping the Frank at bay. We're at 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Ninky is in ninth, and Bubblegum slowly closing up to Ninky. He goes a 2:10.1 there. Ninky doing a 2:09.2 though. This is the problem. Ninky does have a little bit more time pace in his at his fingertips. I think a small mistake is what put Bubblegum close to him. Still at the moment going faster than he's gone before. He's starting to find a bit more pace in the Jaguar. He's getting to terms with the beast, the cat, the big cat, ladies and gentlemen, the Jaguar. And he goes up towards the line. 2:16, losing out a bit of time there. Then we've got Rufus in the lead. Carlsberg. When? What? Wasn't Carlsberg in the lead? We missed a lead change. So Rufus somehow getting that lead back away from Carlsberg. Unbelievable. Can't look away for 1 second, can you? So Rufus then back in the lead. The same lap that he lost it, so all's good for Rufus there. Carlsberg getting a little bit of a toe, having a look, having a think about it into the first corner, knowing that Rufus made his mistake in the first corner. Last lap around, Rufus does no such thing this time, and he absolutely slung that as well, took no chances, and Carlsberg unable to close up onto the Rufus then. Rufus absolutely landing his blows and getting on those apexes. Perfect driving from the Rufus at the moment, giving Carlsberg no options whatsoever. He's just got to follow him around, hope for a mistake. Now these two starting to race each other. They are costing each other time, and Ginger, I just saw there in shot, lands a 59.7, and he might be coming to join the party here. He might decide this could go three ways, guys. This could go three ways. We're at 13 minutes of a 25-minute race, and Rufus has been under pressure pretty much the whole way from the Berg. These two pulled away from the rest of the pack, but Ginger has decided it is time to enter the chat. So Ginger then heads in their general direction. Hoyland in fourth. He was fighting the Ginger. He's finding the 59s now, and he's dropping the Saint. The Saint still in the 2-minute mark with Waitsy hunting down. Oh, Waitsy's made a mistake though, and that might have put Fazzy in striking distance. Look, Fazzy now has something to aim at after Waitsy making a small mistake last lap around. No more mistakes. He's used all his lives up, ladies and gentlemen. Now Waitsy has to get real serious and just aim at those apexes, or Fazzy is going to punish him. Frank then in 8th place with Ninky in 9th. Ninky's been a naughty boy. He's got a penalty. Is that enough for Bubblegum to close in? Bubblegum going faster than he's gone before in this race, getting on top of the Jaguar as Steele also fights with the Jag at the moment. Rufus then leads, but Carlsberg's in striking distance, ladies and gentlemen. Is Carlsberg or is it going to be Rufus? We will find out in just over 10 minutes of racing time. These two have absolutely gone to battle in every corner. It has been exhilarating, like a roller coaster ride, and now Steele is on the horizon. They're coming across a lapped car, ladies and gents. Steele staying out of the way. We saw last season Steele always stays out of the way, never makes himself a problem, and there he was just at the right time. So Rufus then does steal a bit of a march on Carlsberg as they got past Steele. Looks like Rufus landed around a better time, and Carlsberg hesitant getting past Steele, but he's closed back up again, as he knows. It's still a bit of a gap there. Hoyland, oh no! Ginger looks like he's gone altogether. Unbelievable. Ginger has gone. Hoyland up to 3rd, the Saint in 4th, and Waitsy now in 5th, and we've lost. Unbelievable. I'm sure it was a disconnect, but Ginger has gone. Shocking. Leaving the podium open then, our championship leader, a DNF in round 1. Unbelievable. Making this championship very difficult for himself and his team. Hoyland then in 3rd spot then, and the Saint and Waitsy, who seem to be teammates, promoted up to 4th and 5th. Fazzy still fancying it though. Waitsy, a 2:05 last time around, very strong from Waitsy. The Saint in the 08s that last time around, making a mistake, and another big mistake this lap. The Saint 11 seconds down on his own time, pushing, I imagine, trying to make up ground, and Waitsy trying to make up ground. There is a big chasm between them, but you never do know. You never know. So Fazzy in 6th place, safe from Frank at the moment. Frank struggling to get much more than the 2:08s out of the Jaguar, and Fazzy just enough gap and same pace to keep Frank at bay. Ninky in 8th, and he knows there's more pace in the car, but he's pushing it to the very edge, and small mistakes getting in there, slowing him down as he makes his way around. And Bubblegum very consistent in the 210s, closing back in on Ninky. And still there in 10th place, Rufus, and we've lost Ginger. Rufus maintaining ahead. Now he's flicking the purples at Carlsberg, and Rufus is maintaining decorum. He's getting himself back in the swing of all of these things. And Rufus then is leading the way from the Berg. Hoyland in 3rd place at the moment, looking very strong. Hasn't put a foot wrong so far. He's got himself a lovely gap from the Saint, so he'd have to do something pretty ridiculous, and the Saint did a 2:15 that last time around, dropping a lot of time in the middle of the race. Waitsy 2:05s, this is it. Waitsy on the push, trying to close the gap. It is quite a big gap, but if the Saint dropped it last lap, you never know. You don't never not know. So Waitsy might as well keep on pushing. Fazzy widening the gap between himself and the Frank, and the Frank seems to be fighting the Jaguar there. Let's have a look, see what his woes are. Everything's looking good so far from the Frank. He's matching his fastest lap time he's already done in this vehicle. He's chasing down Fazzy. To the braking then. Onto the apex. Everything's looking sweet at the moment. Car nearly swung out of his way then, but he grabbed her. Here he goes, looking good. 2/10 down on his fastest lap time so far. Him and Fazzy got a similar pace in this Jag. At the moment, everything looks absolutely sublime from the Frank there. But it isn't a bad lap. It's not a bad lap at all. As Frank brings it around that final corner, floors it. To chase Fazzy down in a 2:08.4, just 3/10 off of his fastest so far. Fazzy with a 2:08.4 also. So these two matching each other. Waitsy, another 2:05 from Waitsy, the Saint. 2:11. He's definitely lost a bit of pace there. He was doing 2 minutes on the nose. He was there with the leader's pace, and for some reason just dropping off of pace at the moment in this in the later laps. We're up to nearly 20 minutes as Waitsy is closing the gap on the Saint. Hoyland in third, chasing down Carlsberg, who's still very close indeed to Rufus, and this race is far but over. Rufus with that fastest lap at 58.5 at the moment. And Carlsberg again, very strong in that first corner. Very strong indeed, closing in all of the way up to the rear derriere of Rufus, adding pressure into the heat of Nürburgring. Another good run for Carlsberg through that section. Coming down, now Rufus having to get defensive. And again, Carlsberg carrying good speed. Rufus looked like he was a little, just touch of the dust, but nothing serious. Don't panic. And Carlsberg having a look in the braking zone, slings it out. I think he breaks a little more than Rufus in there and loses a little bit out of the hairpin. But does Carlsberg get a better run up to the next corner? And Rufus at the moment, yes, this looks like Rufus enjoying the second part of the track, the later part of the track. And managing Carlsberg by the end of the lap. Rufus then in control at the moment, leading the way. 21.5 minutes done on the clock, and Carlsberg has been chasing. He has tasted that lead once or twice, but at the moment Rufus does not look ready to yield anything, and they're coming up to some I wouldn't call them back markers, but they're catching up this battle here. Bubblegum has caught up with the Ninky having issues, and Bubblegum closing in with that nice consistent steady pace that he has shown throughout, and now he is up to 8th place. And Ninky, with a bit more pace in the Jaguar, has made a couple of errors in his quest for speed. These guys battling, and now these guys who are battling are closing in. This is going to get tricky. And Rufus then having to defend as they close up to the battling 8th and 9th place. Sorry, I coughed. And Ninky then trying to find a way past. He's got a dilemma. He's going to be getting blue flags. And he's looking like he's yielding. No, he hasn't yielded into that corner. And Rufus will be screaming in his headset, move. And there goes Carlsberg through as well. Bubblegum yields as position to the leaders, and he doesn't lose too much from the Ninky. So battle on again from Ninky and Bubblegum, and the leaders. It's put them closer together. We're at 23 minutes, only 2 more minutes left of the race, and Rufus has absolutely driven. Oh no, Rufus has picked up a naughty boy signature. He has been a very naughty boy, and Carlsberg then, all he has to do is sit behind the Rufus. What an absolute shame for Rufus at the moment. He's done he's done something wrong, hasn't he, obviously. Hoyland there in third, too far back to make an impression. The Saint in fourth. He was losing time, but he's getting back into the pace with Waitsy now, a 2:03 from Waitsy. And Waitsy really truly starting to get familiar with the track and the car. Fazzy back into sixth, Frank in seventh. That was how it was. Sorry, Fazzy in sixth. He's maintained that pace to stay ahead of the Frank all the way through. He has lost a bit of time recently, but it should be safe with only 1 more minute to go. Then we've got Bubblegum and Ninky battling on, but Ninky's been a very naughty boy. He's got a 1 second penalty. Right then, Carlsberg leads. Rufus is in. Oh no. So Carlsberg, sorry, I'll go back. Carlsberg made the move into the first corner. We saw he was threatening that for a long time. Rufus then, did he late break it again? He did. He took it very deep. Oh, poor Rufus. So Rufus then trying to carry some speed into the first corner. He knew he had to make up a bit of ground on Carlsberg, and now he has absolutely shot himself in the foot with the penalty, and the late break into turn one has truly put him on the hop of the Scotch. Carlsberg then leads, and it looks like this one is going to stick this time. We've seen him lead before, but it just was only temporary. In the chat, we have Brownie saying top-notch racing and commentating. Oh, bless you, man. Thank you very much, sir. Carlsberg leads, Rufus in second place, Hoyland in third. Then we have the Saint in fourth, fighting to stay ahead of Waitsy. And Waitsy's pace the last few laps has absolutely come to life. And the Saint is feeling some of that pressure. Fazzy in sixth. We've got the Frank in seventh. Frank still a threat to Fazzy. It's not done. The tyres are starting to look very worn on Fazzy there. And Bubblegum, Steele's crossed the line. Carlsberg who else is? Oh no, the Saint has crossed the line, sorry, with Waitsy in fifth. Who's next? Fazzy? It's got to be. So Saint in fourth, Waitsy in fifth. Fazzy comes home in sixth place. And the tyres looking absolutely torn apart there for Fazzy. He'll be glad to see the checkered flag as he brings it around one last time. Well, not quite the one last time. We've got round two to go yet. Frank finishes in seventh. Then I think we have the Berg taking the win. Unbelievable drive there from the Berg in second. And commiserations to Rufus. What could have been coming home in second. Hoyland is going to lap Bubblegum, I think, to come home in third. Great drive from Hoyland for a podium. Bubblegum crosses the line in eighth, and Ninky in ninth. Wowzers, oh wowzers. A big start, ladies and gentlemen. A big start to the series. The Apex Cat Cup is alive. Look at it go. Carlsberg then takes the first win, but Rufus could have taken that first win. Great driving between the two leaders. Hoyland gaining a podium there from Ginger. I don't know what happened to but Ginger, DNF, car couldn't make it to the end of the race. So Hoyland then gets the podium. The Saint in fourth looked like a threat to the leaders early part of the race, but the pace just fell off near the end as the tyres. And even the tyres didn't look that bad, but maybe it was the fuel, the weight, something caught the Saint out with that Jaguar nearing the later parts of the race. Maybe just pushing, trying to find its edge. Waitsy just kept getting faster. in fifth, with Fazzy in sixth, trying to maintain, but his tyres were going away from him fast at the end of the race. And Frank always there, always looking at the back of the Fazzy. He'll be wanting to repay that compliment come the next race. Bubblegum in eighth, a great drive, steady consistency, although tyre wear was an issue for him near the end there, it looks like. So Bubblegum in eighth, with Ninky in ninth, also chewing through tyres, and Steele barely used his tyres. Beautiful stuff. In 10th. Great stuff. Great stuff from all our competitors there for round one. Now, let us move on to round two. It's a reverse grid, but everything is the same other than that. Doo-be-doo. We've got to go down. Yeah. And we've got to find it. Yeah. I believe that is it. Race, round one, race two. Okay. Yeah, I'm 2 weeks behind on this one as well, people. I know. I didn't even know they'd started. I thought last Monday was their first round, and then when I was looking at replay situation, I found there was two lots, and I thought, oh my word, they must already be 2 rounds deep. So then let's get what we need up. So busy, I know. The streams just haven't been thick and fast, have they? So Waitsy leads us around. What? He didn't finish. So I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with the grid. Not quite sure what the grid order is that in this. It's usually a reverse grid, but maybe there was mistakes. Maybe there was just for time. They just did it. Maybe, who knows? Any number of reasons could be why the grid is the way it is. I'll try and find out for the next stream, maybe. I think mistakes were made, and they just decided to go ahead because it's a junior league and they need to finish by a certain time because it's, bedtime for some people, school nights. So, sorry, I was just finishing the hot brew, and it was absolutely fine. Waitsy is our man on pole, ahead of the Saint. Great shot. Hoyland starting in third. Rufus in fourth. We got Carlsberg starting in fifth. We got Ginger starting in sixth. Steele starts seventh. Ninky starts in eighth. Bubblegum starts ninth. Frank starts 10th, with Fazzy starting in 11th. Maybe they just... Oh, and they're on the hard tyre. And the medium tyre. Hards and medium. So I always thought they just used the same tyre. So, yeah. They seem to be on different tyres. I should have read the rules. I thought it was the same as last season. But, yeah, Waitsy and the Saint are starting on hard. So is Hoyland. Rufus is on the mediums. Carlsberg's on the mediums. We've got Ginger on the hards. We've got Steele on the mediums. We've got Ninky on the hards. Bubblegum's on the hards. Frank's on the hards. And Fazzy is also on the hard tyres. So we might have pit stops in this one. I just don't know. They were all on softs in the first one. So maybe they've got to use both medium and hard tyres in this second race. We'll keep a keen eye out. This is the beauty of not reading the rules before streaming a race. I don't feel embarrassed, not one bit. I feel like we're going to go on a journey together of discovery. My word. Honestly, I thought it was the same rules as last year. That is a beautiful lineup, and that is one of the best rolling starts I've ever seen this game conduct. That's fantastic. Why can't all rolling starts be like that? That was brilliant. Look, and the Saint giving himself a perfect opportunity to go on the attack of Waitsy. Waitsy, though, keeps it together and leads the way there with the Saint, though, under threat from Hoyland. Hoyland also on those hard tyres, and the Saint really is fighting for grip at the moment, finding there is none on the hard tyre. Hoyland then takes the lead as Waitsy also misses out on the grip. The Saint gets past Waitsy and goes on the chase for Hoyland, but Hoyland absolutely at home on the hard tyre. Waitsy down into fourth. Rufus on those medium tyres, and they'll be soon getting warmed up as Wasey comes back at the Rufus. Rufus then in between Carlsberg. No, Carlsberg's gone. He's shot already through and up to third place as the Saint now starts putting pressure on Hoyland. Both of these two on those hard-tired compounds. Carlsberg on the mediums with Rufus also on the mediums. We've got Wasey on those hard tyres and Ginger on the hard tyres. Ginger looking like a threat on Wasey, but Wasey says no sir, no sir-ree, not yet anyway. And Ginger then having to give it a minute. Steele on the medium tyres in 7th ahead of Ninky, who's on the hard tyres, being attacked by Fazzy, who's also on those hard tyres. We've got Bubblegum on the hard tyres and Frank also on the hard tyres. So it's such a mixed bag out there. Hoyland leads with the Saint in 2nd place, Carlsberg in 3rd. Those medium tyres, they should be warmed up by now. We're near the end of the first lap, and Carlsberg should... I mean, the hard tyres are usually atrocious in this race, in this game. So Hoyland doing an absolutely superb job at the moment, leading them around. The Saint in 2nd, Carlsberg in 3rd place with Rufus in 4th. Can't help but Carlsberg will send it down the inside of the Saint here, having a better grip on the medium tyre, and he does. Rufus follows him through, and the Saint knows those medium tyre runners. There's just no stopping them there in the middle of the corner. Hoyland, the next fresh meat on the rack for Carlsberg and Rufus. The apex cat predators out there looking on the hunt. And Hoyland there with those hard tyres is at a disadvantage as Carlsberg then tucks in for a bit more of a tow. He's going to try and send it up the inside, decides not to. Rufus sitting back, waiting to see what explosions happen as Carlsberg and Hoyland meet on track. Hoyland at the moment doing all he needs to do to keep his car ahead. It's the pressure really is on Carlsberg to get by, not on Hoyland to stay ahead. And Carlsberg again having a sniff and a whiff of the fresh air up the inside of Hoyland, but it's not there. It's not there yet. Hoyland doing all he can with lesser equipment. Standing firm against the Berg. And the Berg there with their medium tyres just needs a big wide open corner to be able to send it up the inside, and yet has come across one. They're all tight twisty corners, and now Carlsberg finds a little bit of grip in the corner and gets a run on the Hoyland as they come out, but Hoyland's waiting for the next braking zone, and again another corner that should suit the Berg there and his tyres, and Hoyland still maintains what he can into a heavy braking zone. This is what Hoyland needs, the heavy braking zones, and Berg looks like he's made a mistake. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Did he get caught out with the braking there of Hoyland? He is on the harder tyres, has to brake earlier. The Berg then fancies it up the inside. He brakes heavy. Oh no, Rufus got caught out. Rufus got caught out by the Berg and Hoyland. And now the Saint moves himself up into 2nd place on those hard tyres as the Berg then dusts himself off and tries to get back on with the business of chasing Hoyland. And Rufus there on the mediums. Yeah, I imagine he was just braking where he thought he'd normally brake. But the Berg and the Hoyland were just up ahead. Hoyland on those harder tyres. Berg having to brake a little earlier, and that catching Rufus out altogether. And he slammed in like a wrecking ball. The Saint out wide. He's got no grip on those hard tyres, but he is a pain to the Berg at the moment. The Carlsberg needing to get on with getting on. He nearly had the lead again, and Rufus there sat behind. I mean, he's probably laughing about that. That was hilarious. Ginger is there in the fight as well. He's on those hard tyres, staying very close indeed. Wasey in 6th place, maintaining on the hard tyres. We've got Frank up into 7th now on those hard tyres, ahead of Bubblegum, who's ahead of Ninky. Fazzy is the one that slipped behind. Has he pitted? Did he pit and put mediums on? He is. He's on an outlap. So he has got rid of his hard tyres. There must have been a 3-lap rule, although he's only on lap 3. If there is a 3-lap rule, I'll find out for next race, honestly. Hoyland absolutely slinging it. Look at him, he's got no one behind him as the Saint and the Berg still battle on. still battle on. And the Rufus there is all in about, he's all up and about them and in their business. He's going through their files and all sorts, their DMs. The Saint then losing grip, and he's pulled up. He's pulled up for some reason. The Berg is released into second place with Rufus chasing him, and Ginger very close behind in fourth place. And the Saint waits he's through. The Saint gets going again. Strange stuff. Maybe he needed to change the tape or the CD in the player. He was picking his favourite song. But yeah, the Saint pulling over to the side of the road there. Very odd. Letting his teammate through, Waitsy, and then Ginger keeping very tight in amongst things there on those hard tyres. Unbelievable stuff. Rufus, Carlsberg, Hoyland doing the best job out there on those hard tyres, keeping it real, brother. So the Saint comes in there. The Saint's had enough of the hard tyres. Waitsy continues on. Ginger also continues on with the hard tyres. Rufus is on the mediums. They look all right, don't it? It doesn't matter when you change your tyre. The mediums seem to be not tearing up. We're about nearly 7 minutes into this race. And the tyres, I'm not sure it's a tactical thing. The mediums are faster, I'm sure. Although those guys on the hard tyres have done a remarkable job. There's usually a huge chasm of difference between grip levels. I don't know if this is just track dependent, because it hasn't got those long sweeping grip corners that you need here. It's more a bit it's a bit like a go-kart, an oversized go-kart track. It's just brake and squirt. And these guys carrying the speed they need to through the corners. Although he is dropping back from Rufus and Carlsberg now. Their tyres coming into their own. As Hoyland then still leads for now, though, on the hard tyre. Fantastic stuff. Frank is up and into 6th place with Ninky in 7th, still on their hard tyres. The Saint's been in, and he has changed to the mediums. So those mediums, I'm sure, are going to be taking him all the way to the end of the race. He's ahead of Fazzy, who also has changed to the medium tyre on lap 2. Bubblegum, it looks like he's just changed to the medium tyre also, and Steele on the mediums. He may have started on them or changed them in lap 2, I'm not sure. Hoyland then, I'll have to start making a note of what tyre they're starting on in the second race. Hoyland being caught by the Berg. Carlsberg absolutely flying on the medium tyres. Ginger's gone in to get rid of his hard tyres. Rufus still on the mediums. Hoyland staying out on his hards as Carlsberg then takes the lead away. And surely Rufus will make short work of Hoyland as Hoyland tries to protect that second place. And Rufus there doesn't know which way to look. And Waitsy then goes through. He's staying out on those hard tyres. He prefers them. He likes them. They feel good. Ginger just getting to his pit crew and getting rid of those hard tyres. Frank still on the hard tyres, and he does not move ahead of Ginger. Ginger onto the track with the medium tyres on. Waitsy still on his hard. Rufus yet to use hard. Hoyland on the hard. Oh, Hoyland made a mistake there, and it looks like Rufus nearly drove into him. And Rufus wants no more of that action after already having the moment earlier with the Berg, was it? The Berg and Hoyland, wasn't it? They were racing each other. So Hoyland out at the moment in the, what would we say? Is that purple or blue? I'd say it's purple. And so it's like silk cut colours. I like it. Hoyland then in the purple Jaguar, trying to fend off from the Rufus in the red Jaguar. Carlsberg in the grey Jaguar, getting fastest lap last time around. And I mean, it's obviously because of the academy. They've gone for a suit livery, but you know, guys, they've slapped my name all over it, and I never asked for that. And I am thrilled, and it is very nice, but honestly, it'll make my ego explode. Waitsy then in 4th place with Ginger in 5th, but he's made his pit stop. Frank yet to pit, still moving on. 6th place, not bad. Hard tyres, keeping it real. As Rufus, yeah, he's moved up to second. I think we saw that. I was getting carried away. The Saint, he's pitted. He's put the medium tyres on. So now he's going to be trying to dig deep, get some fast laps in to try and get the undercut done on those out there on the hards. He'll be hoping to get the Frank. Now Waitsy's in. Waitsy's in. Now remember, Waitsy was ahead of the Saint. Can that be still? I imagine Ginger is easily going to get past Waitsy. He was ahead before his pit stop. And there hasn't been that much of a gap out there. And there we go, Ginger moving back up into fourth. Hoyland staying very close to Rufus there. How long is Hoyland going to stay out on those hard tyres? He can do 204s on the hards. Can imagine what he's doing on the medium tyres. Ginger. Then in fourth, the Saint does move ahead at that earlier pit stop, helping him against Waitsy. Waitsy comes out just behind his teammate, who made that earlier stop, but we saw him pull up at the side of the road after getting very much in the fight with Rufus and Carlsberg. Frank's come in, Frank's gone out. Oh, and he's made a hash of his pit stop. He must have crossed the line at some point, and it wasn't on his way out. So on his way in, he's crossed the pit line there, and he's picked himself up a 3-second penalty. Ninky will be over the moon to see that 3-second penalty as Frank's come out ahead of him. And Bubblegum then in 10th place. He's not quite there in the fight, but that is going to put Frank right in Bubblegum's sights. That 3-second penalty is going to put Frank right there with the steal as Ninky tries to get momentum on an already warmed up set of medium tyres and gets through and past the Frank then. And Frank absolutely must be raging mad. Sat in that cockpit. Oh no, Ninky's gone wide. Frank's back through. Frank is back through and up into 8th, chasing down the Fazzy, but he has that 3-second penalty that's going to feel like an eternity as he slows down on track. Ninky losing the car around these corners, tricky stuff, and allowing Frank through. Bubblegum can see the battle ahead of him, and he's now starting to get some very, very fast lap times under his belt and chasing the people ahead. Steel is in 11th, doing some good lap times now from the Steel. Carlsberg started on the mediums, still is on the mediums. We are 13 minutes into the race. Rufus has been chasing him down. It is like deja vu, but the opposite way round from race 1, and we know how that ended. Carlsberg chased Rufus for the majority of the race and ended up taking the win. Rufus chasing the Carlsberg through a majority of this second race. Will we see the opposites? Hoyland there staying out extraordinarily long, maybe the longest on those hard tyres. Ginger will be closing in. Ginger will be cutting down that space between himself and Hoyland, with Hoyland a 202.6, very, very good. A 202.6 last time out, and Ginger a 202.2, so he's not closing in as much as we thought he was. But Hoyland's doing extraordinary pace, but these guys are doing 2-minute deads. Well, Rufus is at least. Ginger then and the Saint on those medium tyres are 205, enough to keep ahead of Waitsy, who has just put on those medium tyres and is trying to get up to speed on the grip levels out there. Fazzy, he's on a set of medium tyres. He may have made his pit stop on the second lap, and he's carrying on all the way to the end, we think. And there's a bit of gap from him and Waitsy, but if Waitsy gets it wrong, Fazzy is going to be there on scene. Ninky there. And it was Frank, was it, with the 3-second penalty? He's put him closer to Bubblegum, but not quite on the money. Steel there, 2:15. He's just being passed by the leaders, I believe. Yet to make a pit stop, 10 minutes left on the clock. And Carlsberg getting purples through those sectors as Rufus chases him down. Hoyland still out there on the hard tyres, the only one has taken the hard tyres very late into this race. Ginger, now he is closing in the gap, a 201 last time around from Ginger, with Hoyland doing a 203. He is losing time, not being on the medium tyres at this point. to Ginger. Is it enough? Does he have enough wiggle room to make that pit stop and come out ahead of Ginger? Remember, Rufus and Carlsberg have got to make some distance, because they've got to come out on a cold set of hard tyres. If they're near anyone on medium tyres, they are going to be vulnerable. Very, very vulnerable. These guys taking a big risk with the medium tyres, and I imagine they didn't expect Hoyland to stay as close as he has done. So Hoyland on the medium tyres at the end of the race, and I think he's waiting for these two to pit. I honestly think that's what he's waiting for. He wants to get on the mediums when they get on the hards, but these guys aren't going to leave it until the very last minute they possibly can. They're not going to put those hard tyres on until they have to. Carlsberg leads from Rufus. Both of them starting on the medium tyre. Hoyland started on the hards, is still running the hards. He's now, though, losing time to the car behind him. Ginger getting very fast lap times. This one's set to be in the 2-minute bracket. Hoyland crosses the line with another 2:03. That's a 3-second loss to Ginger. Hoyland needs to get onto the medium tyres. He's leaving it too late. He's leaving himself wide open to Ginger, who is absolutely annihilating the track at the moment. He is the Apex Cat. There you go, a 2-minute 0.7. And Hoyland should be nervous with those times coming through. The Saint at the moment, 2:04.9, enough to stay ahead of Watesy, but Watesy is finding a bit of pace on those medium tyres. Fazzy behind him with a 2:10. And he's been on those medium tyres for a while now. His worry will be from the Ninks behind. Ninky yet to find the pace on those medium tyres. He's being chased by the Frank, who is on pace. He got a 2:09 last time around. He really is, and he's going even faster. So Frank ready to mess things up ahead of him with Ninky and possibly the Faz. Bubblegum in 10th, a 2:10 from him, and he can see the battling cars ahead. This might slow Frank down, though. Getting up against the Ninky, that might put Bubblegum right into this action that we're seeing unravelling ahead of us. Fazzy just trying to stay out of that trouble. Watesy trying to close in on his teammate, the Saint. Ginger trying to close the gap between himself and Hoyland before Hoyland's pit stop. Carlsberg and Rufus fighting it out on those medium tyres, but both need to run a set of hards. And we have only got 7 minutes left of racing here in round 2 at Nürburgring for the Apex Cat Cup here for the Academy Junior Series at the Ultimate Racing League. Ladies and gentlemen, amazing stuff. So Carlsberg then, he made a small mistake there. Rufus decided not to punish him for it. Rufus looks like he seems to be waiting for later in this race. He knows what Carlsberg can do. He knows what Carlsberg is capable of from that first race. And I think he doesn't want to get caught out again. He'd rather just hunt him down, shadow him round, and go for the killer move, maybe after the pit stops. Maybe he feels more confident on the harder compound to what Carlsberg will be able to produce. 19 minutes done in the race. Surely they're going to have to make a pit stop pretty soon. Hoyland taking those hard tyres virtually all the way as Ginger, a 2:02 though. Ginger dropping a bit of time but still gaining on Hoyland. It's going to be tight when Hoyland comes out the pits. If he comes out the pits, I'm not sure. They've seen that they must do a pit stop, but I do not know when. 2:03 from the Saint. That's the fastest he's, well, yeah, that's the fastest he's managed so far on in this race. And is he going to be a threat to Hoyland? It's questionable. Wait, see. Can't live with that pace of the Saint at the moment, but Fazzy losing a lot of time there. Ninky gaining time. The Frank also gaining time. This is a bubbling pot of pressure just building to happen. And Bubblegum's there as well, as it looks like the leaders are catching up with Bubblegum. Carlsberg, Rufus stuck together like glue. I'm sticking with you. And they're both into the pit lane. They're mimicking each other. Carlsberg, Rufus both into the pit lane to go on to the hard tyre. Hoyland, what will he do? Is this the last opportunity for their pit stops? Yes, he comes in also, so Hoyland also coming in on the hard tyre there. An absolutely epic drive. Has Ginger done enough to close the gap on Hoyland to get the jump in the pit stop? The undercut, ladies and gentlemen, going in earlier for the faster tyre than your competitor is what they call the undercut. Remarkable how long Hoyland stayed out there on those tyres. Now Carlsberg and Rufus both out on the hards. The job is the early... Oh, and Rufus looked like he wanted to make a move on the Berg early doors, and I think there was a small bit of contact there, and all is good. Hoyland's out now on those mediums. Where is Ginger? He's coming down the straight. It's going to be very close for that podium battle. Hoyland's getting... Oh no, Hoyland's made an error going either in or out of the pits, and Hoyland picks up a 3-second penalty and almost hands the podium away to Ginger, which in all fairness, with Ginger's DNF, was what happened in the first race. So he's returning the favour. The Saint then in 5th place, looks like a solid 5th there. I don't think he's close enough to gain from Ginger's penalties. Hoyland's penalty, sorry. And these two on the hard tyre. We've got about 3 more minutes of racing here. Have they done enough? They've got quite a gap from Hoyland, who's got a 3-second penalty, and Ginger. So Carlsberg and Rufus there. It looks like the strategy of starting on the medium tyre was the better one. As long as you can maintain a good pace and pull out a bit of a lead, then you can get in late in the race and go to the hard tyre and still stay away from those medium runners. Hoyland could have been a bit of a thorn in their sides, but now having to pay a 3-second penalty has pretty much put him out of the running. And he looked like he had the pace to stay ahead of the Ginger as well. The podium was sure to be his, and now it is ruined. Ginger then goes ahead. Ginger with an absolutely huge order. I don't think it's... Oh, he nearly drops it through the chicane. Shows how much he's pushing. But yeah, these guys are going to be limping on the hard tyre. But I just think Ginger could be just too far back, and that the damage is already done in this race from the Berg and Rufus there. And Rufus just can't live with the Berg. Oh, there's a yellow flag out there. Someone's still having a bit of an off. He's on the hard tyre now, so maybe he's pitted to put the hard tyre on, and he's finding the hard tyre a bit of a handful. Stays out the way of the leaders as they come through, and again the hard tyre just doesn't want to grip down for him. He's going to have to be careful getting on that accelerator. Bubblegum on the medium tyre, losing a bit of time now. He's losing a bit of time to the Frank, who has closed up to Ninky. Ninky in trouble, and Frank can't decide which way he wants to go, swinging from one side to another, and Ninky just staying solid of his race line. He chooses the race line, being the lead car, and it is down to the Frank to find a way by. And at the moment, Ninky just awkward enough to make it difficult for the Frank. Frank trying to go around the outside in the chicane, and again Ninky has the apex covered off. He gets a little slide coming out of the chicane, but he maintains and he holds position, ladies and gentlemen. Ninky then braking for the final corner. Frank having a look, but he's gone a little wide, lost a bit of time, and Ninky then gets a run down to that first corner. It's a heavy braking zone, which would be an absolute invite for Frank to try and sling it down the inside. And Ninky, though, staying on his racing line, not defending. He feels comfortable. Hits the apex absolutely deliciously, and Ninky driving like a seasoned pro, ladies and gentlemen. Ninky then keeping decorum, keeping his head as Frank goes on the attack. Fazzy all by himself, trying to stay away from that battle behind him, and they're finishing. Ginger's crossed the line, so has Hoyland in 4th, and that penalty really hurt him. The Saint will be the next to cross the line. He's a little further back though, and he seems very safe from Wow, that caught us up, didn't it? There's Steele finishing. And the Saint then bringing it up. He's all by himself. A good, solid set of points from the Saint from this round. And we know the Saint has the pace of those leaders. And he's still getting used to the Jaguar, as you see, as he hit the curb there and put himself off the line. And he brings it back home. Solid 5th place. But I think we'll see him in some winning positions throughout the season. Once he introduces himself to the Jaguar and the Jaguar introduces itself to him. So the Saint in 5th. Watesy grabbing himself a solid 6th place as well. Great start to his season. Fazzy seems safe from Ninky, and the Frank still has a move to make in this race on the final lap, but Ninky says no, sir. And Frank is really trying to do it on the chicane. Strong stuff from the Frank, and he does it, but he's outbraked himself, and Ninky just cruises on through, and Fazzy comes around the final corner to take 7th place, and that's the Fazzy getting some good points. Ninky laughing across the line, and Frank put it all in, and he just didn't have the braking to get the move done, as Frank then putting in more than he had. Comes home in 9th. Bubblegum in 10th, but I don't think he's the next guy. It's Carlsberg ahead of Rufus, and that is a strong championship start as Bubblegum crosses the line in 10th place. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was round 1 and 2 of the Apex Cat Cup, the Academy Junior Series by Ultimate Racing League, and it looks like it's going to be a banger. Looks like we're going to have a very interesting season on our hands. Carlsberg, 2 wins, gets the full-on gold from a race rounds 1 and 2. Rufus, just nearly 2nd place in both races. Ginger grabs 3rd, and it looks like him and Hoyland are set for some great battleage for the rest of the points this season, or for wins. Saint also showing good pace and might be a contender this championship. Watesy, he's consistent, he's getting there, and I'm telling you, I think Wacy's going to get podiums this season coming. Him and the Jag are going to get accustomed to each other, and we're going to see some big podiums. Fazzy in 7th. Looking good in this, just the small mistakes, isn't it? It's costing these guys the time. Ninky and Frank absolutely going head to head there. Exhilarating stuff. Ninky finishing in 8th, Frank 9th. Bubblegum in 10th. Consistency is key when it comes to Bubblegum. And yes, when he finds a bit more pace in that Jaguar, I think we're going to see a very, very attacking moded Bubblegum. Steele in 11th, finding his feet in the Jag. But a big congratulations to Carlsberg on 2 glorious wins. He must be very pleased with himself by the end of this round. So the next one, I've already got it downloaded, is Sardegna. And that is a tricky track. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of spills and thrills from there. Thank you for Ultimate Racing League for organising these races. Thank you to our Pro Sim racers that take part. And thank you to you guys that watch. Nothing more to say. Tooroo, peace and love. Peace and love.